hope they make the right response, because what we really want is we want a world where oil and gas is flowing freely. They've got to know we've got tools in our toolkit that we so far haven't decided to use. The President of the United States can decide to use them, and he will decide to use them if the Iranians don't change.
The warning had been delivered at the highest levels. They need to understand every hour the strait remains closed, the cost to them goes up. We have options on the table we have not yet exercised, and the president will not hesitate. The deadline was firm. Reopen the Strait of Hormuz or face consequences. Tehran did not move. The clock expired, and Washington acted. We in the United States immediately launched a powerful, sustained, and coordinated air campaign against the infrastructure sustaining Iran's blockade. The target set was precise and deliberate. Coastal power plants supplying electricity to Iran's integrated air defense network, fuel depots feeding the naval patrol fleet enforcing the closure, hardened command and control nodes coordinating the blockade operation, and surface-to-ship missile batteries threatening commercial vessels in the strait. Yainu Dade Air Base in Qatar, B-52H Stratofortress crews moved through the pre-dawn darkness with practiced intensity. Ground teams worked in silence beneath the massive airframes, loading the bomb bays with GBU-31 Joint Direct Attack munitions, 2,000-pound satellite-guided weapons locked to GPS coordinates of Iranian coastal power infrastructure. Each JDAM was lowered on hoists, slid into position, and torqued to spec before the arming wires were connected and continuity checks confirmed across every station. Captain Marcus Holt climbed the boarding ladder to the upper deck, settled into the left seat, and began methodically working through the pre-flight checklist as all 8 turbofan engines spooled up one by one, a sound like rolling thunder building across the Qatar desert, deep and deliberate, felt in the chest before it was heard. The B-52s sat heavy on the ramp, each aircraft carrying tens of thousands of pounds of ordnance ready to deliver sustained, overwhelming fire across multiple target sets for as long as the mission demanded. Across the Gulf, aboard the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower operating in the northern Arabian Sea, F-35C Lightning II pilots conducted their own methodical preparations on the flight deck. Lieutenant Commander James Rourke walked the flight line, tablet in hand, personally verifying the weapons configuration on each aircraft in his strike package, GBU-49 Enhanced Paveway 2 laser and GPS-guided bombs dialed to hardened transformer vaults, command bunker entrances, and missile battery power supplies. Ordnance crews in yellow jerseys ran final arming checks while plane captains inspected every panel of the stealth coating under white flashlights, ensuring no surface anomaly would compromise the aircraft's radar cross-section over defended airspace. The F-35s sat low and angular on the deck, engines cool, avionics fully loaded, silent and ready. At a forward operating location in Bahrain, MQ-9 Reaper crews worked inside ground control stations, triple-checking satellite uplinks and sensor configurations. Their aircraft, armed with AGM-114 Hellfire missiles and fitted with multispectral targeting pods, were already on the runway, engines running at idle, waiting for launch clearance. These Reapers would not simply strike, they would loiter for hours above the target area, feeding continuous full-motion video and laser designation to every aircraft in the package, tracking patrol boats leaving harbor, identifying generator backup systems spinning up, and marking any mobile missile launcher that attempted to reposition under cover of darkness. High above the Gulf of Oman, KC-135 Stratotankers were already airborne, holding at pre-planned refueling tracks. The strike package would require multiple fuel offloads before reaching the target area. The tanker crews orbited in darkness, booms extended in test cycles, waiting for the call that the strike force was inbound. Captain Holt released the brakes. The B-52s rolled first, heavy, deliberate, building speed across Al Udeid's long runway before lifting into the black sky, gear retracting as they climbed north toward the Gulf. Minutes later, the catapults aboard the Eisenhower fired. F-35Cs accelerated from 0 to flying speed in 2 seconds, peeling away from the carrier in stealth formation, climbing without lights, without radar emissions, slipping into the night. The MQ-9 Reapers launched from Bahrain last, climbing slowly to altitude on their long loiter profiles, sensors already scanning. Over the central Gulf, the strike package converged. The KC-135s appeared on schedule. The B-52s moved into the refueling track first, boom-locked, fuel flowing, thousands of pounds transferred in steady streams while the aircraft held formation in the dark. The F-35s followed, taking fuel through their centerline receptacles with precision. When the booms retracted and the tankers banked away, the entire strike force accelerated north. The coast of Iran appeared on targeting displays, range closed fast. A race began without warning. Captain Holt's B-52s released their GBU-31 JDAM strings from altitude, weapons falling in calculated sequences toward the coastal power plants supplying Iran's integrated air defense grid. The JDAMs tracked their GPS coordinates through the dark, impacting transformer yards and cooling infrastructure in rapid succession, explosions blooming across the Iranian coastline as primary power generation collapsed station by station. At the same instant, Lieutenant Commander Rourke's F-35Cs emerged from the defensive clutter and delivered their GBU-49 paveway strikes directly onto command and control bunker entrances and missile battery power nodes, each weapon laser-guided to within meters of its designated aim point. The MQ-9 Reapers orbited overhead, Hellfire missiles rippling off their rails against naval patrol boats that attempted to exit harbor as the strikes began, the AGM-114s tracking heat signatures across the water with lethal precision. The effect cascaded immediately. Coastal defense radar screens flickered and went dark as power plants supplying the air defense network lost generation capacity. Fuel depots servicing the patrol fleet erupted in secondary fires visible from 40 miles offshore. Command bunkers lost communications. Missile battery crews stripped of targeting data and primary power could not bring their systems to bear. Iran's ability to enforce the blockade was crumbling from the inside out. Every critical system that sustained the closure had been struck simultaneously. The first wave had struck hard, but the operation was not complete. Several backup generator systems at secondary power plants had activated, and a number of mobile missile launchers had repositioned inland before strikes could reach them. The message from the United States was now unmistakable: reopen the strait entirely and stand down the naval blockade, or the strikes would continue deeper, heavier, and without pause until full compliance was achieved. Within hours, the first signals of movement emerged. Iranian patrol vessels that had been holding station across the shipping lanes began withdrawing toward port. Tanker captains anchored offshore monitored the situation in real time, engines warming, awaiting the clearance to transit. The strait was not yet open, but it was breathing again. The pressure was working. Campaign was not the only instrument positioned in theater. The 24th Marine Expeditionary Unit, embarked aboard amphibious shipping in the Gulf of Oman, remained on full alert, prepared for rapid insertion if the air operation alone could not achieve complete Iranian compliance. The option was on the table. It had not yet been used. The combined strike force, B-52H Stratofortresses, F-35C Lightning IIIs, MQ-9 Reapers, and KC-135 Stratotankers continues operating over the region, methodically dismantling every system Iran assembled to close the world's most critical oil choke point. Every crew member in this operation understands what is at stake, not just the flow of oil, but the principle that no nation closes international waters by force and pays no price. The Strait of Hormuz is opening. The pressure is sustained. The final result is only a matter of time. Subscribe and follow for every development as this operation continues to unfold.